hill collapsed. The hill collapsed, right? To me, they didn't understand the soil that they were dealing with. They didn't understand the structure. First of all, you got to understand what's above you. You know, you go to a home, you know what I'm saying? You got a business. You want to, you got 2 levels. And on the second level, you would want to bring some equipment and some machinery and so forth. Even at the first level, you got to understand the structure and whether or not that can withstand the pressure, the weight that you're about to put underneath it, right? Understanding, building a solid foundation, understanding the disciplines that you need in order to build a nice, successful life for yourself. Understanding, right? So when he didn't understand the soil, the property collapsed. They lost a lot of money, but it was lucky that it happened before they actually got into that home and put all their belongings in there and their family. So actually, it was a blessing in disguise. But you need to understand, right? Overstanding is how do you overcome? How do we understand the situation? And overstanding is being able to develop a strategy of renewal. My children right now don't even want to understand history. What do I want to know that old stuff for? Because they use the same strategy over and over again. About life. We're not the only people that's been victimized or being victimized. Compared to other countries, we're doing really well. Things that they're going through. We just don't have bombs yet dropping over our heads. And by understanding the right information, that's why some educators say we miseducated. Got all these doctors, lawyers, and degrees and stuff, but yet we cannot figure out. We don't understand. We don't understand, right? Or don't want to understand because the movement, the civil rights movement, you didn't have nothing. That's when everybody was booming out together, working together, but then you start giving some stuff, but that's my next session there. That's the only way you can break the chains of mental oppression is by understanding, getting an understanding. And all things get an understanding, right? And overstanding is an action plan. Now that I understand, right, I have to put a plan in action that will allow my people to raise their standard of living. We got too many homeless people on the street right now. Too many homeless people on the street right now. And it's getting worse. Skid Row. Come on, that's a whole community down there. Women and children and men lost their way. Lost their way. And this is an overall strategy. You gotta understand the strategy. Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and others and stuff put together broke down this concept, right? But as we'll discuss in part 3, you have to have a plan to overcome that. We understand the situation. Some of us, because we don't pass that knowledge on to the next generation, we have an even major problem because our young people don't understand. They don't understand. It's okay, you got your job, looking good, working good. That's basic. That's basic. But remember your indigenous roots in this country. We were a community, we're a people. You owe to each other to help each other. Then everyone will do even better. It's a multiplier effect. And you may be doing well, but what about your child? You give them everything they need, and your child wants to be a gangbanger, wants to hang out with nefarious groups and do ridiculous things and end up getting locked up because their network, the other friends' family structure don't have it together. And your child wants to be a follower instead of a leader, a weak link. And the strategy is, we're going to go into working on a piece on riots in America, the uprisings, rather. got to look at your history. You know, if you want to deal with racism and oppression, you got to understand it. You got to understand it. And then my point is that anytime you have a problem, you need to have a solution to address that problem. So if we just come up with the problem and not a solution to solve it, then we're not thinking. We're only dealing with half a brain, right? We have to understand world history, American history, and the techniques they use to overthrow regimes. Perfectly functioning regimes, they come in and badmouth them and tear them down. It's the same strategy. In World War I and World War II, I have a theory about World War I and World War II, because they come in and how the strategies and so forth. Because when the Moors left, surrendered for whatever reason, and then but they're still in Europe, because that was actually part of the islands on the African continent. They were still there, and I believe World War I and World War II was to bomb the heck out of the remnants of that bloodline, to get the Moors about it. So they created a story that will hide the truth, because they don't normally bomb each other like that. You know what I'm saying? What was the reason? Changing of guard, even in Russia. You know what I'm saying? They took all the black leaders and put them in the back somewhere. Even when you see on news and stuff, you don't see any black people. You know there's black people there. They make sure they're never in the camera, never in the shot. But I believe World War I and World War II was to attack the Moors, the remnants of the Moors that were left there. Their high hierarchy, their structure, their royalty. See, and that's what it was really all about, instead of the story that they've been telling us. Okay, so how did they get your loyalty? How did they get your loyalty? A lot of people want to know, well, how do we get into this situation in the first place? Well, because they gave us trinkets. First, they came in with the trinkets, right? They came in with the trinkets. Get to your leaders, because if you're a leader, you got a little ego going on anyway. So they come in, they give you trinkets and stuff to try to get your loyalty. Things that really don't matter to you. What is new to you is a little trinket here, mirror, or little things that you're not accustomed to. Then they come in with other type of, I don't want to get that deep into it right now, you know what I'm saying? But they give you the trinkets and stuff. So let's look briefly. We can go from historical, how they bring in the missionaries, the trinkets, the traders and stuff with the little trinkets and stuff, with the polluted blankets and stuff like that, which didn't kill off all the natives. They said, well, when the pilgrims came in, they brought diseases and they wiped out, 100 million natives. Come on, man, that don't even make sense. We get chicken pox, the measles and stuff like that. You recover from that stuff. Most people don't die from that. You build up antibodies. So they came in with guns and rifles and machine guns and the cannons. They slaughtered 100 million people who lived a peaceful life. And like, what the heck is this coming around this corner? They come in and murder you and kill you, right? And that's how they get you to over thousands of years, even to their own people. We're going to do a historical analysis on that. Even their own people, to force them to turn from the ancient ways to believe in this new doctrine that they brought forth to them, right? But just trying to touch on certain things lightly. And after the Emancipation Proclamation, you had the black folks were loyal to the Republican Party. That was Lincoln, the party of Lincoln. And somehow we switched to the Democratic Party. How did they do that, right? And we don't go into the detail. We know, the betrayals and all this kind of stuff like that, that went through the process. But we weren't there during that time. But historically, we understand the Reconstruction period and the repulling of the troops from the South. They went against when President Lincoln wasn't here anymore. They went back on the deal and so forth. But the Democratic Party realized, after they were decimated, they decimated the indigenous community. Give them something. If you want the loyalty, just give them something. Give them some trinkets. They always come in with the trinkets. Give you little trinkets, right? Just like in our community today, we look at the TV, the stars and so forth like that, and the people living large, the movie stars. They give us some trinkets, make us feel good. And they're, we doing good. We doing good. You ride through the community, you see the homeless people, you see the people starving, not doing well, being evicted. We doing good, right? Light coming in, got our work on that, get that going one day. We doing good, right? With the trinkets. So that's how they get you, with the trinkets, right? Okay. Got the sun changing levels now, going up and changing levels. Okay, all right. Do I get okay? So the Democratic Party, they realized, hey, let's give the black folks some trinkets. Let's give them some trinkets and stuff, some little handouts from the entertainment society, because during the civil rights movement, we didn't have jack, so we was real hungry. We worked together, we stuck together. So they had to divide and conquer. So they give you some little trinkets here or there to put you to sleep, say everything, give you, all of a sudden you can buy a house now, you get a car, you got a garage, everything's cool. Everybody go to sleep, right? The kids, they don't understand the struggle. So unless you teach them, instruction them, and discipline them, they're going to grow up to be not that productive in society. That's how you lock up over 2 million people. Because now they're facing a living, they want to get some money, so they don't want to work at a job like their parents worked at for 20 years, making minimal, making barely a living, struggling and say, well, I'm not going to do that. But your parents raised a family, bought a home, raised a family, and was productive in society. They didn't destroy the community, they built up the community. You want to be, we're in a microwave generation where you don't want to put the work in. You want the results, but you don't want to put the work in. And that's really not good. So they give you trinkets and stuff. Like I said, they just figured out, just give them some trinkets and we'll get them. It worked. They bought you with kibbles and bits while destroying you in the process. Destroying you in the process. So now, let's look at the state of the indigenous people in America. The indigenous people in America. Not everybody came from Africa. Most of us didn't come from Africa. It just doesn't, the numbers don't add up. The numbers just don't add up. But we'll go through a lot of there's a lot of excellent material on YouTube, got a lot of scholars. Some of it is like, but at least you have to think about it. You can process the information. Understand that the world is not how we thought it to be. And even the stories that we were told. When as a child, you think as a child, you act as a child. But once you become a man, you have to put away childish things. So these thought processes and these fables that we've been taught, those are childish things. Those are childish things. We have to save ourselves. It's part of the journey. You will never be in balance if you're an idol worshiper. You'll never be in balance. Because that's one of the commandments not to do. And also on, let's see, I have Spreaker, 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 SPREAKER.com, Spreaker.com, and go to Prosperity Radio. And I have a series of like 22 15-minute lessons that are empowering, to help you to get it together that you can, now you ready. I have a